Good stewards know the difference between get to heaven faith and not get to heaven faith. And they sway with Jesus to get the right one. Here's a modern fable. Jesus sent a text to earth. He said, I'm coming back. This isn't the last time, but I've decided to make a special trip to earth. I'm coming to New Orleans, Louisiana, and I'm going to walk. I'm going to walk from the south shore of Lake Pontchartrain to the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain, and then I'm going to give you a great message. Well, the whole world went bananas. Reporters came from all over the world. There were helicopters in the sky, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people on both the south and the north shores. On the day that he started, Jesus put his foot out into the water, and then the next and the next, and he began walking on the water for those 20-something miles to the north shore. And he turned and said, hey, join me. And many people put their foot into the water. Didn't walk a step. They were in the water. Some, though, did. They walked a few steps on the water. But as soon as the wind came up and the waves picked up a little bit, they got frightened and they sank into the water. Jesus walked slowly, calmly, and when he reached the other side of the lake, he was about a few hundred yards offshore, he said, hey, guys, come on out. Walk with me the last few hundred yards. And once again, people stepped into the water only to sink into it immediately. But again, others actually walked a few steps on the water, but again, soon became frightened because waves picked up and they too sank into the water. And when Jesus got on shore, he said, okay, I'm going to give you my message. And here it is. Nothing has changed in 2,000 years. Peter didn't have enough faith to walk on the water, and neither do you. But here's the heart of the message. In a very real way, that's okay. Because if you have faith enough to walk on water, that's not going to get you to heaven on its own. That's not enough. You got to listen to the heart of my message, and you guys still don't listen to the heart of my message. I keep telling you, you get to heaven by having faith enough to live my message, to love all. And you're still out there murdering each other. There are still wars all over the world. There's still prejudice and hate all over the world. You're just not listening. Here's modern fable number 2. It was 1854, and a tightrope walker, his name was Donovan, Daredevil Donovan. Daredevil Donovan announced to the world that he was going to walk across a tightrope across Niagara Falls. And it got quite a bit of attention. But a lot of people said, well, you know, that's been done before. And Daredevil Donovan said, not the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to have my assistant, Jack, stand on my shoulders the entire time I'm walking across Niagara Falls. And then he laughed and he said, but I got to tell you, I'm scared a little bit because my assistant's last name is Falls. Jack Falls. But we're going to get there. And it made worldwide press. They started practicing, and Daredevil Donovan told Jack, Jack, here's the deal. You got to have faith in me. Absolute faith in me. We're going to be out there, and from time to time I'm going to sway a little bit. And if I sway to the left, you're going to want to sway to the right. You want to offset what I'm doing, and that'll be exactly the wrong thing to do. We'll fall to our deaths. If I sway to the left, you must have faith enough in me to sway to the left also. And if I sway to the right, you sway to the right. Well, the day came, and Donovan and Jack got on the tightrope, and they began walking toward the other side of the falls. They got pretty far along, maybe 80% of the way, and a wind picked up, and the rope began to sway and quiver a little bit. Donovan lost a little bit of his balance and began to sway to the left. And Jack, in his mind, was saying, God, everything in me says, go to the right, offset what he's doing here, but I've got to have faith in Donovan. And he went with him to the left. In the last 500 or 600 yards, Jack must have swayed 13 times one way or the other, because Donovan was beneath him, and every time, because he had faith, Donovan went to the left, he went to the left. Donovan went to the right, he went to the right. And they made it. Headline news all over the world. Jack retired. Jack lived a long life. When he was in his 80s, his great-grandchildren asked him, Papa Jack, what is the most important thing you have learned in your life? And Jack said, well, I've told you the story about me walking on the shoulders of Daredevil Donovan across the Niagara Falls, and I learned from that to have faith. But when I got off, I realized that that faith was just going to allow me to live a normal life. It wasn't going to allow me to live forever. So I decided I would have faith in Jesus Christ, because I wanted to live forever. And I studied and I learned that if we have faith in Jesus, we're going to do what he tells us, and what he tells us is to love all. Not most, all. To love. Not to be prejudiced, and if we are, not to act on it. Not to hate. Not to go to war. Love all. And I did that, because I realized, walking on Daredevil Donovan's shoulders, kids, if I walked on water, and that's all I did, I wouldn't get to heaven. My sisters and brothers, that is the difference between not get to heaven faith and get to heaven faith. You're going to have faith enough to walk on water, and that's a lot of faith. I don't have it. But that won't get us to heaven. The only thing that will is loving all. Something horrific happened yesterday in Charlottesville, Virginia. A group of neo-Nazis, Ku Klux Klan people, white supremacists, came and protested, and one of them, a young man, 20 years old, got into his car and plowed into the crowd, killing a young woman and injuring many others. I'm pretty certain we don't have that kind of hate in us. But nonetheless, I want us to spend some time this week examining our consciences. Where is the prejudice in me? Where is the hatred in me? Whatever it is, however small it might be, let's do everything we can to get rid of it. We want to get to heaven. we got to get to heaven faith. And get to heaven faith requires that we love all. My sisters and brothers, we are all called to be good stewards. And good stewards know the difference between not get to heaven faith and get to heaven faith. And they sway with Jesus to get the right faith.